Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range.
I'm having a good time.
You are?
Yeah.
I can tell.
We are rolling too.
Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks.
It's just a podcast. Because it's a podcast. That's the definition of a podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'll probably edit this out.
So exciting.
You can say whatever you want.
Oh,
okay,
darn.
I'm going to edit this part out. Today's guest is Leanna Rachel. Leanna is a Los Angeles native and Bali-based singer, songwriter, musician, and all-round creative. Leanna has performed at the Viper Room, Hotel Cafe, and the Whiskey in Los Angeles, and has performed at clubs and festivals in New York, Sweden, Australia, Bali, Singapore, and Kuala Lumpur, alongside the likes of musicians such as José González, Little Dragon, Bonobo, and Angus and Julia Stone. Leanna's debut EP, Moonrise, was released in April 2016 and is produced and arranged by KCRW radio DJ and remixer Jeremy Soul. Moonrise features many of Los Angeles' talented natives, which we'll talk about later in the podcast. However, more recently, Leanna has carved a niche in the Bali music scene, performing regularly at the most premier venues and festivals. She writes and collaborates to progress and inspire. Leanna has teamed up with fellow musician Athron to form the duet Bullet and Cass, a 1930s folk music-inspired genre that is moody, melodic, theatric, and it's done in order to depict survival and strength. Leanna sings with an open heart. Her authenticity is hard to ignore. Unbeknown to her, I was getting out of the surf at Canggu recently, and as I was walking past a very popular beach club, I witnessed Leanna performing at sunset. Her eyes were closed, her hair was moving around, and she was singing from the heart and to a bunch of very lucky tourists who were thoroughly enjoying her presence. And there was a real presence, and she had no idea I was standing there. Today, Leanna is with me to share her journey, experience, challenges, and hopes for the future. Leanna Rachel, welcome.
Oh my gosh, what an introduction. That was
It's a bit long.
so beautiful. Thank you. I didn't know you were there.
I was stalking
Was it
you.
like yesterday or 2 days ago?
No, it was actually like probably around maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
I think
That's
you know.
amazing.
I think you probably know the place. It's a it's a
because
beach club.
there's that beach walk, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
whatever you call it, promenade thing. And so there's all these people that come by and you don't even see them because you're facing the other way. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a gorgeous place. I love.
Does
Bali.
does it get like when you're performing at those sunsets? Like, do you actually get a chance to really take in the natural environment, or are you just solely focused on, you know, doing the best you can to sing and inspire?
It's all the same thing. Like being in the natural environment is singing and being present, you know? So if I am coming from a place of authenticity, which, you know, it's like probably 90% of the time, because 10% of the time I might be thinking about new musicians who, you know, like I had to teach 3 sets of music to like a new bass player, and I'm just like making sure he gets all the changes, you know, at the same time. So it's hard to stay present, but I'm working on it. But most of the time in those beautiful settings, I'm just like, it's all the same, you know, it's all just a part of that, the ocean, the sunset, the song, the music, and it feels amazing. So.
Yeah, like you just seem so in the zone. And like I've also seen like various clips of you performing, and there's a genuine like sincerity in the way, like not only you're actually singing because you've got an amazing voice, but the way you're moving your body, and it really does seem like you're feeling the music and then letting the words come out. Would that be a good way to describe it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's rad. I love it.
Thank you.
So like I said in the intro, which again I say this to all my guests, and you probably aren't aware of this, but I always try to do the intro in one take, and I've never missed a take, and so if I stumble through it, I'm like, no, I'm not doing a second take. So I'm sorry if I stumbled through it a little bit.
No, but, I think because I was reacting to like my introduction sounded so epic, and it was like she's performed it. I'm like, you know what, I have.
Did it make you reflect on what you've done?
Yeah, and it's really cool because you just like life just goes, and I've always just lived in this take every opportunity, such as doing this podcast when, you know, it feels like the busiest time of my life, but I'm like, you know what, let's just do this. Like you said when we were setting up, sometimes the last minute ones just are the best because you're there, you're doing it.
Would you say that you work on feel a lot?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to like analyze it like that, but I can't do anything. I will say that I can't really do things my best unless I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So some of the gigs that have come up living in a place like Bali, like cover gigs, I have to be really careful which ones I say yes to, because the place that you saw me is my, you know, that's the cover gig that I'm okay with, because I get to do exactly what I want. Everything is in my own style, and then I get to bring a full band. But some of these, like some places that kind of want you to be a certain way, I just can't. Like some people might say, oh, it's easy money, you know, you just sing a bunch of songs for a couple hours. But it's like, no, like if it's not coming from that genuine place, it's like a soul depression, you know. Yeah. And I realized it doesn't work.
Doesn't sit with you. Yeah, doesn't sit well with you.
Can't do it.
So where did you grow up? Like, you're from LA?
I grew up in Orange County,
okay.
So about an hour south of LA.
Would that be like Huntington Beach?
Near there. Yep. I grew up in Tustin, and
I don't know it, but
it's a small town, and they say Rustin and Tustin because most of the residents stay there their whole lives, you know, because it's a really nice town. It's a beautiful place, and it drove me crazy.
It's exactly, I'm the same.
And now that I go back, I really appreciate it, and I'm like, oh, the streets are clean and quiet, and you can hear the birds chirping. Safe. Oh my gosh, this is amazing to have this break, but I can't be there for more than like a few days.
Like, why did it drive you crazy?
I just felt like I felt like an outsider, honestly. And growing up there, I was depressed without even knowing what that was. I just kind of thought, okay, this is life. Because I can't speak for everyone there. Obviously, like I have friends and family who are near and dear to my heart that live there, and they're beautiful, amazing people. But in general, I felt like the atmosphere was very in the box, and I wasn't even aware that like I was different than that. I just thought that I was wrong, you know, like going to school, getting a job, buying a house, having a family, you know, and that's all like great if you can do that. But for me, I was just like, I just, my artist soul, I guess, like was rebelling against that. And when I discovered LA and started making connections like with people there, I just realized like, oh my gosh, this is way more my speed.
Like you felt like you're with your people.
Yeah. I don't want to say vibe tribe.
I was going to say you're with your tribe.
But basically, yeah, like,
that's
you know,
okay.
the like energy attracts it. You eventually, if you're being true to yourself, like you eventually find your people, you know, you find it right.
It's amazing how that happens. Yeah. You attract like-minded. I've seen it time and time again. It just blows me away. Yeah. Like even the fact that we're here tonight.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, I come to where we are. We're at the Bali rooftop, and home of previous guests, Athron, Kaimata, Phil Studley. And just walking in, you just feel this energy, and I just feel really welcome and really comfortable here, like every single time I've been here. And I don't know if everyone feels that, but I definitely feel an energy and a vibe here. So without sounding too Bali.
We're really, really lucky to have this place. Like and it's funny, I don't live here now, but I do live here. Like I have a house that I'm renovating.
Where's that? In Bali?
It's a long story. Yeah.
Be long.
I rented a house in Denpasar from my friend's family, actually. And it was his childhood home. He grew up in this house, but nobody's lived there for many years. And so we're helping each other out. And I'm fixing it up, and they're giving it to me for really cheap. And it's in the middle of Denpasar. And it's still close to, it's only 15 minutes from here. So that's cool. But right now that's all in renovation, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be done. It's the classic Bali renovation, or probably anywhere, but where you're like, okay, it's not done yet.
Are you telling me that the tradespeople in Bali are behind schedule?
Well,
I don't believe it.
I would just say that the word besok, which technically means tomorrow, could mean any time in the future. And if something's going to be ready, besok. I can't even say it with a proper accent. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
But it's great. It's actually, when I took on this, when I decided to rent the house and knowing it was going to be a project, it's always been a dream of mine to make a house in Bali, like to be able to get these like really cool materials for pretty cheap and make a cool space that I'll be comfortable in for many years, make my home with my studio and everything. I'm like, it just makes me so happy. And I said to myself that I was going to use this whole process as like a spiritual practice of not getting stressed out. Because moving, is probably like the number 2 most stressful thing in life, It
really is.
And I've moved a lot, but yeah, this is a big one. And not having a home can be very stressful, but I'm just kind of like, it reminds me to go back to the present moment and exactly what's happening right now, and acceptance of how the process is. It's not done yet. So, okay, cool. I get to stay at my friend's house, and, we're just going to keep being productive and make music and do our admin stuff together. And
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you produce the best songs during times of adversity in your life? There you go.
It's kind of a hard one.
Think about that. It's tricky.
It's an interesting question. It opens up some pathways in my mind. Like, I feel like, well, this isn't necessarily a time of adversity. I would say that it's just like a busy time, which I'm not writing songs right now because I'm too busy. I need space to write songs. I need alone time and headspace. And but adversity, definitely. I mean, that's how it started, like feeling a certain way that I wasn't even sure of, like frustrated about something, and the only way I could figure it out was to write a song. It was like like interactive journal. It's like a therapy session, like the song becomes your therapist.
It is. So that is true. Like,
that's like how it's been for me, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like, is it like some of the work that you're most proud of, like, has it been born from those times?
Yeah. And I'm wary of saying yes, because a lot of stuff up until very recently came from like heartbreak and struggles in that area of life. And then it reached a point where I was just like, I don't want to keep inviting this kind of stuff into my life. I don't want to tell myself the story that I can only write a song if I'm heartbroken, because I want to be in love. Like, I love love. I want to enjoy that, you know? So then recently, like within the last 2 years, like I just kind of have been washing that away, and I've been writing songs from a place of love, and it feels really good too.
Does it?
So yeah.
Man, love and heartbreak. God, they've done some wonders for the music industry.
Yeah. It's powerful, and everyone can identify with it. So,
yeah, it's true. Yeah. And like, I mean, I talk about suffering a fair bit. Like, it's just, you don't want to suffer, but so much learning comes from it, and I think musicians really epitomize utilizing it for positive, but I do, like you said, I guess it must get tiresome to hear and think about people writing from that place.
Well, I think there comes a point where, like, because I've looked at other musicians that have had long careers, like Sade, for example, who I love her music.
I love Sade.
And it was like, people were always like waiting for her next heartbreak so they could get her next CD. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. Like, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know her personally or anything, so I can't speak for her. But like, I think that just staying in that space just keeps attracting it, and it's like, I'd like to move on now.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to move on. That's fair enough. So small town Orange County, which I really identify with because I'm from a small town as well, and yeah, I mean, I was counting the days till I could get out of that place, you know. But in hindsight, I go back there and like aesthetically it's beautiful and it's clean and it's safe and there's a lot of friends that never left and they're happy and I kind of feel like, what's wrong with me? Like I do. Like why can't I be satisfied?
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and since then I've just always had this really deep burning desire to travel and move, and I'm just really interested in the world and people and stuff like that, and I needed that diversity, and the town couldn't offer that. And when you were saying like I didn't identify with that either, like through your childhood, did you spend a lot of time like feeling isolated or?
Definitely.
Yeah. Like what was school like for you?
I probably only had like one friend or something like that, and I was kind of like, I was a good bridge. I could talk to anybody, but I was never really like really close friend. Like I didn't have a group, you know. I didn't get invited to parties, and you know, it's like, okay, that's fine.
And is school where like the music started? Like when did you discover like, hey, I really like this?
Actually, it was church. I went to a Christian church, and my grandma was really involved in the music program there. She played the flute and played the piano, so I grew up with it around me. And my church was very musical, so I was like playing handbells, and like it was awesome. Really? And we were touring with the handbell choir, and I was singing in choir. Choirs were probably the first thing that I did musically, and so I love harmonies. And our church was very like, the directors were all really strict, which was amazing because that meant that the music was on. You know, it was just like
strict in like their practices in terms of like how they
didn't tolerate, you know, out of tune notes. Oh, wow. So it was just like we were tight.
So it was a really good training ground for you.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then in school and church, I was doing music choirs, and I was in band. I played flute, and
You play the flute? Not
anymore. I mean, I really want to pick it up again because it's such a beautiful instrument.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the jazz flute?
Yeah, I was going to say jazz flute. I just like pop up.
I tried so hard not to make an Anchorman reference then. I had to stop myself.
I'm just imagining like jumping on the table like in the middle of one of my songs and just playing the flute and just like ripping it on the flute. I would love to do that. I gave it away. It was going to be a surprise someday.
Like here's a question for you. If you had to identify with growing up one genre that you really feel formed who you are as a musician today, what would it be?
Okay, growing up. That's the key word.
Growing up.
Because now it's different, but I guess I would say jazz.
I was gonna say, because like I was actually gonna say, would you say you identified with jazz?
Yeah, and it was like specific. My grandmother, who inspired me to play music, she gave me this Gershwin CD. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed with all the songs. I'll build a stairway to paradise with a new step every day. It was just like, I know every word of every song still, and I listen to it forever.
You know what's so funny? Because my wife, Jade, is obsessed with Gershwin.
Oh my gosh.
And her mother really connect with that. Like for them, amazing. I think it's kind of like the theme of their relationship.
Aww.
You know, it's really beautiful. Like, and yeah, my wife, I think, has an amazing voice. She loves to sing, and she doesn't do it so much these days, but she did a lot growing up, and that is the one song that she will just bang out.
That song
on
that
cue.
I just sang.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because nobody knows that song.
She
like,
loves it.
I always do I've Got Rhythm for the sound check. I've got rhythm.
Yeah, she does that one too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
She'll listen to this and go, no way.
Oh man, well I hope I get to meet her someday.
Yeah,
we can sing together.
Well, yeah, and then like she'll often do it, and I'm sorry, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, can you just stop? Can you stop now? Like the first 5 times it was awesome, but like, but anyway.
Does she do it like full theatrical style?
Yeah. She loves
man,
it. And she'll
that's so great.
She just,
I love that.
Yeah, and like, you know, now that I've got kids as well, like she'll sing it to the kids, and it's just awesome. Like so cool to hear for them. I think to see their mother singing, I think you're just giving them something so special.
Yeah, singing is one of those things that like actually everybody can do it. A lot of people are really afraid to do it, but it really is a healing thing when you're singing. Like having that your voice come out of you, like there's nothing closer to you. It's but you can feel it outside of you, but it's coming from you. It's magical.
It is. I get it, and like it's only in like my later life that I'm really starting to appreciate it. I mean, I grew up. I was like I'm a sports guy. I'm like a skateboarder, surfer guy.
Okay.
And I've always I love music. I've always been inspired by it, but I've never been brave enough to go, hey man, like singing and music really heals my soul. I'm going to say it, like it does.
Yeah.
And like I'll be in, especially since I've moved to Bali, like there's so many times I'll be riding the motorbike and just singing my heart out because no one can hear me just and I sound terrible. And then my wife's like, and sometimes I'll sing at home and she'll be like, you should try these vocal warm-ups, and she'll be like, now do this 1 1 2 1 1 2 3 2 1. I'm like I'm going to try and improve my voice.
I love that. That is so cool.
Do you do vocal warm-ups?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I've done them anytime recently. No, maybe last week I did a few. I've fallen off the wagon of vocal exercises, but I've done a lot of vocal exercises in my life, and there's an amazing vocal masterclass in Bali every year, which you should totally go to.
I'm not doing it.
Oh my gosh. And it ends up being like, okay, so the people who teach it are vocal coaches who worked with Michael Jackson Prince,
MJ,
like literally just the greats. His name is it's a couple that run the classes. It's Seth and Margareta Riggs. Okay. And you know, I think he's like 85, and he can hit crazy notes, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows how to get the best out of you, and it's like this intense training. But then so half of it is technical and the other half is emotional, and it's like a group therapy. Like we didn't even know what we were getting into, and by the end everybody's crying and we're just like healing all these old wounds from our childhood. And you know, singing, just like if you're not coming from that place, like the people listening can feel it. It's like whatever. But when you are, like when you can touch that place and then share it, like it's just everybody can identify with.
Yeah, Athron and I spoke about this because as a performer, and I know when I watch live performances, you can smell the authenticity a mile away. If it's bullshit, you can smell that even more. You know, we're reflecting on some of our favourite singers over the years, and you know, people who aren't probably technically good singers, but just the most engaging. And we're like, well, why are they the most engaging? You know, like, and I brought up the example of, say, Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers because I'm that era. And you know, technically I knew like he was not a great vocalist, but there's something so raw and real that you just want to keep listening to him. And you know, you can also think about Kurt Cobain, who probably epitomized that. But
oh my gosh, yeah, like it's just like it's visceral. You feel their voice.
I love that,
you know, it's like exploding in your chest in a way, you know. And then you know, like I don't really like Bob Dylan, but he's one of those. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. I like Bob Dylan, but I don't like his voice, you know. But he's one of those ones where it was just like his voice didn't really matter. He could, you know, it was his energy and his lyrics and his intention, and you know, he did amazing things in his life for music and the world. So
like as a performer, because like I'm still so intrigued by anyone that is brave enough to stand up in front of groups of people and do that and lay their heart and soul out and sing publicly. I just think it would be terrifying from my perspective. And I know you're probably really comfortable with it now. Can you tell me, on the nights where you know you have to perform, but you're just not feeling it, you might have had an argument with your partner, you might have had a bad day, but you know you still have to perform a gig, how do you prepare yourself mentally to go out there and try and be what you want to be, or what others want you to be, or how do you maintain the authenticity?
Well, those are the moments where it's the most authentic, because you know, recently, maybe 2 months ago, I was having a really tough day and I had a performance and I just really didn't want to do it. And I couldn't, you know, I'm not going to cancel last minute. So I just dragged myself to the venue and I was literally bawling in the corner right before going on stage. It was crazy. And I just went on stage and I used every ounce. I just focused it all because I was like, you have to do this, you're doing this right now. And then it just came out in this like really fragile, strong way. And yeah, those are like the best. That is when it's like, okay, I need therapy, this is my therapy and I'm doing it right now, you know.
Is it escapism?
No, because it's going right into the feeling. So you're going directly into it. You're not running from it. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny.
You're facing it head on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you have to. You've got nowhere to hide on stage, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely had moments where I've like almost cried, like on stage, and those are just that was actually what we talked about during the vocal masterclass, and is like getting to that place where you're about to cry, but just being able to get there,
Wow.
Yeah.
So so growing up in Orange County, and then at what stage did you then transition to actually living in LA? To chase, I guess, did you make a decision to chase the dream?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I was going to music school and living at my parents' house. I was going to university for music education. I wanted to be a choir teacher, and I was still living at home, and it just like was not feeling good. I felt kind of like guilty that my parents were spending all this money on a nice school, and I felt like it was just like high school or something, like a glorified, like people were just partying, and it was a great school, but it just wasn't. It was also classical, so kind of the wrong choice, but that was my bad. But I saw there was a moment where I had been walking around the music school area of the campus, gorgeous, and they have these like busts of famous people all around the school, and they have a quote underneath them, and I stopped in front of Ella Fitzgerald, and her, like a lot of the other busts are like really like historians and lawyers, and they have really long complicated quotes, but Ella Fitzgerald's quote was, "I sing what I feel." And I was just like, I'm not feeling this. And I told my parents I wanted to take a break, and they were kind of upset, and it was also kind of this tumultuous, like my mom and I were just fighting all the time, and that's how girls are with their, like, we totally get along now, but I just could not live there anymore. And I think I was smoking weed, and I didn't want to lie to my parents, I was just like, it feels wrong, and I know they don't want me to like do that while I'm living here. And I was like, you know what? So I got kicked out of the house, actually. My mom and I got in a fight. So
you didn't leave on your own accord?
She was like, we're kicking you out. And like, I left a towel on the bathroom floor, and she was like, you're ungrateful. Like, we put a roof over your head, typical stuff. And I was like, fine, I'm gone. And they're like, we're cutting your college fund. I was like, okay, I'm dropping out of college. And my dad was like, oh, come on, like, apologize to your mom and work it out. I was like, no, actually, you guys, like, I think it's time. Like, I want to go. And I moved out. I took a full-time position at my retail job, and I just hustled. I got another job, and I started going to massage school because I've always wanted to be a massage therapist. And, I just knew that I could kind of make that my own career and also do music. And eventually that's what happened. It probably took like 5-10 years to build that up. But eventually I was just like, living in LA and playing gigs here and there and doing my massage business. And then I went to Bali eventually. Wow. Yeah, in between that, I was like going to Bali and saving up. I would work my ass off for a year and then go to Bali for a month and just...
Okay, but why Bali?
So I first came here to Bali with my band, Love in the Circus, my previous band. We got invited to play at the Bali Spirit Festival, and we just came. We just dropped everything and came, and I fell in love with Bali. I didn't even know what Bali was. I literally had to Google it, and I came with no expectation, and it's the classic Bali story of like, I stepped off the plane and I felt home, and I didn't even know that was missing, Are you relating to this? You look like you get it.
Keep going.
And I just like, literally my blood felt right. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. It was really weird. I'm like, okay. And the whole drive from the airport to Ubud, like watching the like all the houses and the temples, I was just like, totally in awe. It was just a dream fairyland. And then doing that festival, that was probably, that festival is quite big now. And that was probably the second year. And they didn't have an alcohol license at the time. And it was just this beautiful, sober, amazing festival. We just had the best time, and great musicians from all over the world. I called it summer camp in heaven because it was like 2 weeks of hanging out with the coolest people ever, and like being in Bali and seeing temples and waterfalls and staying at this gorgeous villa for super cheap. And yeah.
Do you find more creative inspiration here than LA?
Well, it's weird because I feel like Bali is so inspiring, but it's inspiring like after, because when I'm here, there's so much going on that I don't even have time to write. And the second I leave, like I write a lot of songs in the airport, and like when I'm home and bored, like in a, like, yeah.
Transit is boring.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, there's nothing else to distract me. So
there you go.
Yeah. Got the guitar.
Yeah. Like, I just want to go back to Bali. Like, I don't know. Like, and a lot of people I speak to who live here say that. But, I mean, I've been traveling back because I'm Australian. Like, Bali's quite close compared to the States, especially.
Right, yeah.
So it's a popular holiday destination.
Right.
I used to come here to party and surf, you know, because that's just what you did. But and the first few times it was about that. But then I honestly felt like wanting to come back was more about, I wasn't so much attracted to the waves as I was the culture and the people. And I remember I had this moment probably around 8 years ago. I'd been for a surf and I was riding my motorbike back to where I was staying, and I stopped on the side of the road to watch the sunset. It was sort of maybe early afternoon, and the Hindu prayers came on that get broadcast over the village, you know. And I didn't have my shirt on. It was warm, and I had this like layer of salt on me from surfing, and I was watching the sunset, and I just had this overwhelming feeling like I've never had before, and it was just like I'm home. I just was like, I'm home. It was really bizarre.
Wow.
Like, I've never felt it anywhere else. And then I remember actually putting a job application in this particular place that I work at now, and they never wrote back to me. And then 8 years later, in a time in my life when I really shouldn't be moving around too much, I should be settled by traditional standards. I get the call up to move to Bali, and it's just like, I kind of felt like I think Bali, this is going to sound really shit, but I'm going to say it.
Do it.
Bali chooses you.
It's true.
There's an energy here, man.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, and then there's the other cliche that's true, that Bali either sucks you in or spits you out. Because I've definitely seen people come here with all these dreams and expectations of it, and it just sucks, and they get, robbed, and they fall, and they get sick, and, they hate it. They just thought it was going to be some paradise, and it is, but it's fucking intense, It is. It like faces you. I feel like it just puts your shit in front of you, and you just have to deal with it, like, as quickly as possible. Otherwise, like, it's going to keep coming up, and you're going to keep having struggles.
Do you carry a lot of expectation in what you do? Like, do you put high expectations on yourself?
No, I let go of expectations probably on my third trip to Bali. Bali taught me about letting go of expectations, because the first trip here, like I told you, I didn't have any expectations, not even knowing what Bali was. And then the second trip, I had every expectation because it was awesome the first time. And so I had the worst trip, and literally got robbed and got sick and had the worst time. And then the third trip, I was like, let's try this again. And it was still bad. And then the fourth trip, I was finally like, you know what? Let's let go of every expectation and just see what happens. And it was amazing. And so it was just like, okay. So I try to do that in life. I do the best I can with everything. And I just trust that whatever's going to happen, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. And yeah.
That comment you just made, like, I do the best I can in everything. So, obviously music's a big one for you, but when you say the best you can in everything, is that like in like your home life, in the way you try to conduct yourself with, as a professional, communicating with other promoters and recording and producers? So many
aspects of it, and so many like relationships that you have with people, like you were saying, producers and musicians, and like I always try to like make sure that, for example, for the cover gigs, I've got to hire a band, and so I always try to like make sure that whoever I'm playing with like will be honest with me with what they want for their fee, for example, because I don't want to have like, there's this reputation sometimes that like boules come here and they like just take advantage of how cheap everything is. And it's cheap, but it's like, you still like need to find out what they value, what their value is, and what they expect and what they need. And I try to like, this one has been coming up a lot recently. But there's so many different like communication, like a little bit differences between like the cultures. So I just really try to understand like every perspective that I can, and like I'm always really upfront and honest about stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's yeah, I mean, I struggle with that stuff too in different ways. But I'm finding like for me, I have to have a really strong morning routine and set an intention every day to say, listen, I'm going to try and have integrity in everything I do. And it's amazing just by doing that in the mornings how much it makes a difference to those things. And you said the word relationships. I mean, I really think, you know, relationships, all the variety of relationships we have to have, and then you come to a foreign country and then you have to add the cultural differences and the language differences. It's super tricky, you know, and especially to maintain your integrity. And
right.
I sort of feel like in your line of work and your industry and your, I guess, passion, it would get very tricky in terms of feeling like people would be trying to take advantage of you, in terms of like take advantage in terms of charging you too much, or maybe, I don't know. Have you ever experienced much of that in this industry? Like taking advantage in terms of trying to gain from you and your talent.
I mean, I feel like it's funny that being taken advantage of. Like I just kind of go back to knowing, like trusting that my energy will attract the right people.
Okay.
And
you
so
work on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like I can think of like the last instance that I felt like I was taken advantage of, and I'm just like, well, next time they asked me to do something, I just said no. And right, I didn't like let them take advantage of me, you know. Okay. I was just like, I don't have any tolerance for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I guess, look, to be completely honest, like, and I hope this doesn't offend you, I guess like being a female in the music industry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Is that something you've
now
had to
I'm like,
experience?
oh, I'm thinking about other instances that happen. But like I said, I'm just like, once you cross me, there's no letting you back in. So I just do not surround myself with anybody who's tried to take advantage of me. And yeah, when I first got here, there was like the wave of like the people who kind of become friends with you in the beginning to like see what they can get out of you. And you're like, cool, everyone's so nice. And, you know, they take you to all the shows and they do this, that, and the other. But yeah, I feel like maybe just because I've lived here now for 3.5 years, but hopefully I've gotten better in my life in general at kind of like discerning who has integrity and who I want to work with.
Yeah,
you know?
cool.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. I guess
Don't test me on that one, universe.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No,
and I guess like, I guess I was just curious, like, because, yeah, I guess the question just sort of came to my mind.
Wait, have you heard something?
No.
I was like, ooh, do you have a juicy piece of gossip?
I don't know anything. I don't know anything or anyone. I'm, you know.
Neutral.
I'm so neutral.
Sweden.
Yeah, I don't have any secrets, that's for sure. And I'm trying to work on that. Now, listen, going back to LA, like, so you, like, once you sort of like got involved in the scene in LA, like, can you maybe like give me your description of the LA music scene as someone who is trying to, you know, get in and, you know, get not a name, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess I could get a name, like start your career.
Right. Yeah. I feel like it's such a, LA is just a really high level of musicianship.
Is it?
And like, it's so intimidating to start out there. And
It would be.
Oh my gosh. Like, I had so many jams at my house. Well, okay. So basically I was dating somebody who just introduced me to the most amazing musicians and, you know, people who are on Grammy award-winning records and who tour internationally every other week, you know? And I'm just like jamming with these people who are freaking incredible, and I just was frozen so many times. But then I would start to sing, and then they would just be really encouraging, and like they're really nice people. So I just kind of got lucky with like a really good group of friends there in a community, which I'm excited to see again and go back in a few days. And
do you go back often? Is it just
maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, kind of depending on what's going on. But yeah, I'd like to go back twice a year because I just love it there. The energy is so like inspiring. There's always something new going on, and they're just next level. You know, Bali, we can chill a little bit, but LA's like, okay, it kicks your butt a little bit. And steps you up. Yeah, I
could imagine. I mean, for me, like coming from Australia, and I sort of grew up in a small coastal town. LA just seems so like almost mystical. Like it's this place of like famous people, and it's
Yeah.
where all the inspiration and creativity happens and movies and stuff. But I'm sure it's not really like that. It's probably like a lot of traffic and
there's definitely a lot of negatives,
a lot
to
of
it too, but-
superficial bullshit as well.
Right. And like, again, going back to like what you attract, and it takes a while in a city like LA because you get there with expectations again, and you're just like thinking that it's going to be the place where your dreams can come true, but it just, you got to get down to the work, and you have to hustle really hard, and then you eventually find your crew and you find your community, and it's amazing when you do.
Yeah.
It took me probably like 2 years to really like fall in with my like solid crew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which same with Bali, you know, like you move to a new place and you meet all new people and you just feel out what works best for you.
Yeah. You said you've been in Bali for 3.5 years.
Yeah, 3.5 years.
So like when did you feel like you really fell in with your crew, your people?
Hey, these people right here.
Yeah, for sure.
at this house that we're at.
It feels like like you guys are just one big family.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get.
It's great. I feel so lucky. I mean, Athron, probably meeting Athron was the beginning of that for me, and I met him probably a year and a half into my life here, and it just immediately, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's like, I've met many amazing people along the way, but with Athron, it just like felt like definitely a soul connection kind of thing, but we were aware that there was no like romantic attraction, but it was like we just wanted to be around each other all the time and sing together and create stuff and crack up, and we call each other past life exes because we just that's how it is.
Yeah. And like, I guess musically, do you like, you feel the chemistry? So
yeah,
you'll be playing or singing and you can really feel that he knows where you want it to go and vice versa?
I feel more like it's mostly the stuff that we do is like driven by him because he's such a prolific songwriter. And for my songwriting, I like to just be by myself in my room alone. So when we sing together, like I can just jump on his train, like, and it's so easy. I can harmonize with him, like in the first beat. Like it's just insane how natural it is. And I'm so grateful for that connection because, you know, we've both been doing the solo thing for our whole lives, and having somebody who understands how much work it takes to do music full time and then putting it together is like awesome.
Yeah,
so
I can
cool.
imagine.
Yeah. So the momentum is just building and building.
And is it safe to say like you just don't find that with everyone?
Oh yeah. No, that's really rare and hard to find. And we're also both like, we've both been through enough in our lives and our careers that we won't take this for granted, and we won't let, like, if we have a fight, I don't think we've ever had a fight, but we're like,
you're gonna disagree,
let's never like, you know, give this up for some petty shit, because bands are hard to keep together, you know.
I've heard that.
So we're just like, let's do this. And we're going to California in a couple weeks actually, and we're going to be touring our new duet project, Bullet and Cass, and it's like we just get ideas and we do them, and we booked the ticket like the day after we talked about it, the ticket to California, and we just like built a tour, made an EP, shot 2 music videos. Like we shot a music video 2 days ago on the roof up there.
No way.
And it's pretty intense. Like it's gonna have to have a warning on it because it's like we're like,
is it violence?
Yeah.
Cool.
But in a beautiful way. Like I don't want to give away too much.
So it's like, it's fairly theatrical.
Yeah. The project is like playing on a lot of things that Athron and I love, which are, you know, acting and singing and telling stories.
Telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, how was the original idea for Bullet and Cass born?
Well,
did it just evolve?
It evolved from singing together. Like I think we met at this house through Rudolph Detu, my previous manager, and he introduced us, and like that night we started singing together, just like, oh, let's jam, and then it just happened. And then he asked me to be on one of his 21 songs in 21 days, which he did like 2 years ago or something. Yeah. He did 22 songs in 22 days like 2 months ago or something. Yeah, but before that was 21. So he wrote a song a day. For those of you that don't know, he wrote a song a day for 21 days. Wrote, recorded, did a video for. So he asked me to be a part of that, and it was like the second to last day. And Yeah.
Is that sorry?
I think my puppy is stuck in the garage. If somebody could just open the gate, that'd be great.
I can hear that
Christina.
too. So cute.
Poor thing. She's like, I want to be a part of everything you do.
It's so cute. How long have you had that puppy? Sorry to go off.
No, it's okay. Like a few months. It's been 4 months, I think. Yeah, she's
so
the best.
Is it a what's it? It's like a sausage dog.
Yeah, dachshund. What's miniature?
What's the proper name for a sausage dog?
Dachshund.
I thought it was a dachshund.
Yeah, I mean,
same thing.
I pronounce it dachshund.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, dachshund, but dachshund. I don't know. That sounds more German, but I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, okay. So like you're going back to Athron.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his songs with him, and then we just kind of, like, we were friends and we'd sing together whenever. And then one day it clicked and we were like, let's just make this a thing. Like, let's do this. Yeah. So we did. That was like only probably 4 months ago. And then since then we just hit the ground running with every idea. We just threw it together and things are still falling into place. And
I really like the aesthetic of it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's cool. And I know you guys went up to like North Bali.
Yeah, we went up to Madawi
and did some
shot an amazing
filming.
Music video.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be our second video. We've got a whole plan too. It's kind of cool because this house, like with Phil living here in Athron and me being here half the time, like we're always talking about not only the music, but the music business, which I feel like a lot of musicians shy away from. And so now we've got like this whole marketing plan and like, you know, we're trying to do it right so that we get the proper exposure, because you can't just like throw a video on YouTube and expect that people are going to watch it. You got to have a plan.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to understand all that.
Like, it's really interesting to me because a previous guest, Kai Mata, the lovely Kai Mata, she said the same thing. She said like, you have to be pragmatic about it because, look, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And, you know, you do also need to be able to survive in the world. Like, it's really unrealistic to just go, I'm just going to keep it real and live the dream. And I guess shit just doesn't happen. You got to make it happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the 1 in a million where, like, someone, quote unquote, discovers you and holds your hand through the whole process. But, you know, I never really wanted things the easy way in my life anyway. So I'm like, okay, this is it. I gotta get into this like back end of it. You know, we call it admin days. We're like, okay, admin day.
I mean, the one thing I've noticed just from coming here is that everyone that lives here, and you know, it's very very creative place. But I've also noticed everyone just works so hard. You know, like I just feel it. Like,
wait, in Bali or here at this house? Okay, because I was like, I feel like people bash on Bali people, like that they're too chill and they don't work hard.
This place here, like the Bali roof, I'm going to call it just
the Bali rooftop.
It is the Bali rooftop.
Yeah, and
it's like everyone just works really hard. Like every time I've come here, it's like there's something going on. There's a bunch of random people taking gear off the roof, or Athron's got like a bunch of people in his room, and they've got the mix. You know, they've got the everything set up and they're mixing. And like, and I mean, Athron himself, like I tried to have a coffee with him the other day in Kerapakan, and he met me, but he's just like, yep, I've got somewhere to be, but I've got half an hour for you, you know, like, and I just love that. It's inspiring because I really do feel like in Bali you could so easily get caught up in holiday mode and just get sucked into it and just get nothing done.
And that just like, I don't know about you, but that was kind of how I spent like my first year here. I was touring a lot, but I was also just like kind of like chilling a lot, and I just got depressed. Like I need to work. I need to like have something to go towards, you know. I can't just be told what to do and like go play this show, go do that. Like I need to like fuel myself, and that feels good.
Is that how you've always been? Like you have to be busy?
It probably comes from my mom because she is like the most productive person I know, and so I've always felt not busy enough.
When you say productive, like in what way?
My mom specifically, so she's a teacher full time, and she has her own business. It's a tutoring center that she started, and she manages like I think 6 teachers there. Okay. And then so that's like 2 things. So that's like 2. She has a full-time job and a business. And so she's up at like 4 or 5 in the morning planning her lesson plans and grading papers and reading essays because she teaches language arts and history. And she's just like nonstop. And then after school, she goes to the tutoring center. Oh, and also she teaches teachers. She's like, I don't know if she still does this. If she's listening, I'm sorry, Mom. We need to catch up. But she's also like, she teaches teachers how to use new technology in the classroom. Okay. So she goes around to different school districts and to different schools in the district to teach this. So
like
I'm just
to upskill.
That's what she's doing now.
teachers.
But when I was a kid, like she had her own calligraphy and word processing business, and she was just like always like editing some, different things. It's just she's always been doing something.
Like having a mother as a teacher, like was home at home. Was she like?
Oh, but she wasn't a teacher until later. Oh, but she's always kind of had that teacher personality. Like she would be like looking through my essays. I was going to say for sure, and she'd have the red pen and like
Because I often feel my daughter's 4.5. I often feel sorry for her. I'm like, because like I'm at home and I'm like, let's just we've got some spare time. Let's just do the alphabet for a bit. You know?
Man, my mom gave me so many assignments outside of school. Yeah. Oh my God, please stop. Please be kind to your dog. No, I actually I feel really grateful to my mom. Like summer vacation, we had projects. We had to write an essay about the place we were going to go visit. And I was like, Mom, but I guess she gave me that work ethic and she taught me what it,
I get it. I do get it. But I don't know. Like I guess I'm a little bit like you. Like I like to feel like I'm progressing.
Yeah.
And in everything I do.
Definitely.
And even starting the podcast was so out of my comfort zone and so different to anything I've done before. I don't have any like formal training or background in this kind of thing.
What inspired you to do this?
I love podcasts because I love hearing people and conversations and sharing of knowledge. I'm really intrigued by that. And I wanted to do it for years, and then I just never had the confidence because I was so afraid of ridicule and judgment by people that know me, and because it was not the persona that I wanted people to think that I had. I wanted people to have this other image of me, but it was really deep down in my heart. And it wasn't until I moved to Bali that the confidence came, and I was again on the motorbike, just clear as day. I just felt like I had this out of nowhere, had this epiphany. It was like time to start the podcast, and so I just did it. I just started doing it and working out how to do audio and what the best mics were. And,
nice.
And how to actually even like do things like get it on Apple Podcasts
the technical stuff,
and all that. Like so, and then the big thing was like I just want it to be something that's all mine. And like, and I have full creative, creative
control.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess like, and since I've started it, I feel like I'm really drawn to wanting to speak to musicians because, sorry, I'm just laughing at your dog.
The dogs are loving it. They're loving it.
They're having a standoff. Cute.
I'm sorry. Okay, Lucy.
There she goes.
All right.
Lucy.
Okay.
Look at her. She's so calm.
It's been so hot that she just sleeps all day and then she comes alive at night. Okay, Lucy, go.
So cute.
Now they're like, ooh, we're getting attention. Man. Let's do more.
So cute. Did you get her as a puppy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I had, it's kind of funny, but like I had a wiener dog for like 12 years.
Oh, really?
And I just love her so, like her personality is amazing, and I just know that like type of dog is compatible with me, so I've always wanted another one.
And then I
saw her and I was like, oh, I'm getting her. Yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
I rescued her from the streets of Denpasar.
Oh, did you really?
Okay.
Is she a rescue dog?
No, not a rescue dog, but she was there, and I was just like, you know what? I need someone's going to get you. It's going to be me.
So cute.
She's a good girl. Yeah.
I'd love to have a dog, but I just feel like I don't have time to give it the energy that they need.
Yeah, I feel like, well, you have kids. Oh my gosh. That's like a lot of energy.
It's busy.
You have 2 kids?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 and what's the other?
1.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Great.
Nice.
It's really good. It's good. And like, again, like moving them to Bali was just like, I guess some might say like, that's really bad timing. But it just was how it was meant to be at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just like respond to whatever's happening and just go with the flow, jump in the river.
You do. So, look, I've got another question for you. And the question is this. So, you're going to LA. You have a fairly set schedule.
Yeah, it's really getting full, so I should stop trying to book things. Just like,
you're actually trying to book things. Do you have a manager? Do you have a manager that does all that, or
no? I did this tour myself, and like now I just have to like take it easy because I want to make sure that I do have days off. That would be nice. I love being busy, but I also love days off. So yeah, things are good. I first get there and I do a trip to San Francisco and Nevada City with a friend of mine, like a soul sister singer friend of mine, and we're gonna sing together and do some cool events and maybe do some vocal workshops as well.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do like a solo show it's my own music with a trio, like a beautiful flute player and cello player, and we're opening up for this like really awesome DJ night of like it's Gaslamp Killer's event. It's called Airplane Mode, and the music is just like,
what's it like?
I'm really bad at describing genres, but like it's like dirty and amazing and like just like deep, and I feel like I just trip out. I feel like I'm on acid when I'm like listening to his music. And he has these cool visuals.
Like
He's
it's
got
all
like
electronic music. Like
electronic music.
Yeah.
Well, he does work with like different like Middle Eastern instruments in some of his tracks where it's like a real recorded instrument that he put into, you know, the track. Oh my God, I'm like the worst person to be talking about this stuff because I don't know technical things about electronic music, but I'm opening up the night with like this trio kind of orchestral folk set. And it's going to be really cool. It's almost like an invocation. And yeah. I'm excited.
that kind of like almost like folk music before an electronic DJ set.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. It sounds really diverse. And you said like, I mean, so you've played some festivals, like you've played the Bali Spirit Festival and you've also played a festival I'm familiar with in Australia. They're called the Woodford Folk Festival. Yeah.
It's so awesome.
How was that experience?
It was amazing. Oh my gosh. It was my first time in Australia, trip. And it was with my old band, Love in the Circus. And we had a few shows and Woodford Folk Festival was awesome. It was New Year's Eve. We played a couple times and it was just pure magic. Like our sound engineer came along and he would dress up and put on this big bass drum and like go around like bringing people to our show. Cause even at a festival, you know, you got to like promote your show because there's so many things going on. And he met his like now wife and they have kids together and he moved to Australia.
In the crowd.
Yeah. Like
so
we
cool.
found her to dance on stage with us cause she like looked fabulous and she was wearing these like, and it was just, was just one thing after another of like amazing experiences. And of course it rained but we were all prepared with our mud boots and we just like had a great time.
Because that's in Queensland I think it's in the Sunshine Coast. Yeah, I've heard like, I mean, it used to be like, I think like originally like a really hippie festival.
Definitely felt like a hippie festival.
Yeah, you got that vibe. Yeah, it's great.
Hanging out in the chai tent and, you know.
Yeah. And have you been back to Australia?
No, I really want to go back.
Yeah.
I had a great time that whole trip. Like after that festival, I met some friends there and we like hitchhiked to Byron Bay. It was like a total hippie experience.
Did you go to Nimbin?
It was great. We went to Nimbin and we went to one of the friends that I went with lives in the town right over the hill from Nimbin. So we were like...
Lismore, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't remember the name. But
how'd you find Nimbin? Isn't that a...
Yeah, it's a trip.
It's a trippy place.
That's a trip. Yeah, it's like a time capsule kind of a feeling, you know?
Like that town was really, I don't know if you know this, but it was like, still is like, they really advocated for cannabis and marijuana back in the day. Like, and they kind of became like, because it was so promoted there, and they also have a festival there called the Cannabis Festival or Marijuana Festival. I forget the actual name is. I've never been to it, but they kind of almost became immune to cannabis and marijuana use, like, and it was just, and like you could just go there and without having to worry about being busted by the police, and it was like people would just do the pilgrimage there, and also the surrounding areas just prime for growing marijuana as well. It's like a really good climate for it, and so it always had this like sort of mystique about it that's what you do. And I know a lot of other stuff, like people would go there, and because the mountains and the forest is so beautiful around there, people would go there and take acid in the bush, and it just got this crazy reputation. And but then like unfortunately, like then I think it just turned into like a town full of junkies, and then you know, like heroin and speed and all those sort of drugs came in, and I think it got ruined. But I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but I've sort of never really come across a town like it around the world in terms of that. So
yeah, when I went there, it was like, you know, there was like even a museum about the town, you know, so it's like a tourist destination now that it was this town. But like, Yeah, it still has that vibe. It kind of actually reminds me of, like I'm trying to think of the name of this town. It's near Fayetteville, Arkansas, but Fayetteville, Arkansas is a really interesting place too. I've spent some time there, and it's one of those places where I'm just like, I want to live there at one point in my life. It's in the middle of, just conservative land, Walmarts and things, but it's like the one hippie town, and they're like, the residents of Fayetteville are always the ones that are fighting to save the different rivers and dams and like natural resources around the area, and they're doing a great job, and it's just a creative, inspiring town. One of my best friends lives there, and so I go there sometimes and like do house concerts there. Oh, cool. And yeah, I just have the best time.
Have you ever been to are you big into going to festivals yourself? Like, has that been part of your journey?
I never actually went. Like, I love traveling and I love festivals, but like only when I'm doing me, which is music. Like, okay. And not to like, that sounded selfish, but like, band, like it's all within that, I feel like good because I have a purpose to be there, and then I get to see my favorite bands, and like that's all amazing. But like I went to Coachella one year, and I was singing a little bit with like a DJ, but it was really awesome.
So you performed there?
Yeah. It was just like 2 tracks or something that we did together. Yeah, it was really cool.
So it's Coachella.
But like Rodriguez was playing that year, and that was really cool.
After Sugar Man, it was Sugar Man had that resurgence, and then they made that. Did you see the documentary?
Yeah,
Finding Sugar Man.
Yeah, Searching for Sugar Man.
Was it on the back of that?
Yeah, it was like really close to that happening, and so it was an interesting show because like a place like Coachella has so many amazing bands playing, and they're all kind of like 15-20 minutes within each other, so you kind of have to like see the beginning of one thing that you want to see, and then you have to leave to see the next thing, and you're kind of bummed because you want to see the whole thing, but you do want to see this other person.
It's hard.
But with Rodriguez, so people like, there's a lot of like movement in the crowd all the time.
Yeah.
But like with Rodriguez, we were all just waiting for him to come out, and then he came out, and everyone was so excited. And like he had the worst, like he had so many problems with his sound, and it was a dust storm happening because that's out in the desert, and he was just not doing well. He was like, his guitar was out of tune, like, but nobody left. Everybody stayed, and it was like the most beautiful experience because we were all just like, we got you, like, because for someone to go from just thinking he never even had any success with his music, and he just lived his life, honest worker,
became like a laborer,
like a factory
construction worker or something.
And then now all of a sudden you're like not headlining, but playing on a huge stage in front of thousands and thousands of people. It's like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, like I guess he missed the opportunity to build those technical skills and performance skills.
I mean, sound on stage is like one of the hardest things as a musician.
I was going to say, how do you manage that? Like even from like your day-to-day gig?
Yeah, it's like, hard. That's like probably one of the hardest things.
Something you really stipulate, and like, do you have a sound guy that travels with you?
I wish I did. That's like something that I would love to have.
Are you counting on the venues?
I'm counting on the venues, but it's like I really should have a sound guy. It's just like another one of those aspects that I kind of forget to think about, even though it's like just as important, because if the sound is not good, then nobody's gonna realize how you sound. It's just like it's one of those missing ingredients that a lot of venues don't even like think about. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the biggest differences between LA and Bali, I think, is the sound. And I'm excited to go back to LA and like play at the amazing sound systems, and yeah, that sounds awesome. So you're a very busy person, and I know you have another like engagement this evening. Yeah, it's really important. It's really, really important. Like, why are we all so ashamed? I'm getting a massage, okay? I need my me time.
I didn't want to say.
I haven't had a massage. Why do we have to defend ourselves to like, take care of ourselves?
Self-care is real. Self-care is real.
Yeah, my mind is starting to go a little bonkers with everything that's going on between the music and then like the renovation of the house and all that stuff.
Look, I've actually lived through a renovation myself. I'm excited
about the massage.
Yeah, you should be. I've lived through a renovation myself. I did one, and when you throw in like the money you spend, and then the displacement and the dust and
dust everywhere.
It was actually one of the most stressful times of my life, I think. So
yeah.
But listen, like, look, I won't keep you, and I know, like, I would just want to thank you for your time. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Same here. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be on your podcast.
Thank you.
Really great.
But is there anything you'd like to sort of end on? Like, I just would, is there anything you'd like to say or share with people or end on, or without putting you on the spot too much?
Oh my gosh. It's these things that I probably should have thought about before. No. Oh man.
Not at all.
I mean, I just like, if you guys are listening, I would love to like chat with you. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. I'm at Leanna Rachel, and I would. If any of you out there have heard my music or listened to it because of this podcast, like, let me know what you think and give me your feedback. I would love to connect with you. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you have your own website as well?
Bullet and Cass has a website. So yeah, we just put that up there, and there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff coming through. Like, yeah, these music videos and this music that we've been making with our producer Andreas Arianto. Oh my God, it's going to be it's beautiful. I'm really proud of it. And so, yeah, if you guys go to bulletandcast.com, you can check out what we're doing. And
is this the most excited you've been in a while about?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it because it's just so...
In general, like, I'm pretty excited about things because good things are always happening.
You seem like you seem
definitely
really
the most
happy.
excited I am.
I'm just saying. I'm not just saying, like, you just seem like you're just like bubbling and bouncing off the walls, like with excitement.
There's a lot of good stuff going on. There's a lot of good people in my life. Like, I just feel really, really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it hasn't always been like that.
I mean, it's like it's always been like that, but it hasn't been this much. I think there's just a lot, like the volume, the sheer amount of people that are just like, in my life right now and just doing their thing, and then it's intersecting with my thing, and we're collaborating together. Like, it just feels like it's like a real increased flow of energy right now, and it's good. Of positivity and productivity.
The juju's good.
Yep.
All right, Leanna Rachel, thank you so much. High five.
Thank you.
Boom.
All right.
And enjoy your massage without guilt.
I know, right? Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Take care.
Bye.